What up, everybody? I appreciate you showing up on a Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all the US people, by the way. And, happy, I guess, Thursday to everyone else. I know it doesn't seem like that special of a day. And you're probably like, man, the US people are really lazy today. It's because we're all spending time with our families. I know my kitchen smells like, or actually my whole house right now smells like pumpkin pie because my mom's been in there baking pumpkin pies and stuff. So super excited to eat that. With that being said, man, there's some doom and gloom happening in the market right now. We want to kind of touch on that a little bit and show you how that is going to alter our strategy in trading, and then also in trading, the favor, right? Which is the Wolfer Finance funds doing that kind of as a favor to Wolfer Finance, right? So with that being said, I want to touch on Tether, okay? And you probably saw that from the absolutely wonderful thumbnail, the doomy and gloomy thumbnail that I had up. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to show you guys really quick what we're talking about. So now Tether has the potential, and this is where sometimes in markets where it's indecisive, and we're seeing an indecisive market right now, but we're riding a support that is, if it falls, man, it's falling big. Okay. So in indecisive markets, sometimes you have to go to fundamental analysis, and I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not digging Tether, and we'll tell you what that means for our strategy here in just a second. But spoiler alert, I'm going to do a series on this. Okay. I'm going to do a series on Tether and what could potentially happen with Tether. Why? All right. So pay attention for that. And then also I'm going to be doing a series on this Fed coin, what that is, what that means for the markets, and why that matters. Right. And then obviously pay attention for my series where I tell you that's coming up. And I know I'm doing a lot of series, but I mean, that's the stuff that you guys like. So that's why I'm giving it to you. But I'm going to be doing a series on all the top coins that I'm going to be buying. If 10K, 10.5K is still in play, that's where I'm going to be. These are the ones I'm going to be buying. And I'm giving you everything. I'm talking my whole strategy, where I want to buy them at, where I want to technically kind of sell them at, how many X's I think that's going to add to my portfolio, all that good stuff. And kind of the time frame, reasoning, bias, mathematics, charting, supports and resistances behind it, right? And this is going to be like a 6-video series coming out over the next 2 weeks. I think it'll be starting maybe potentially Monday or Wednesday of next week. So pay attention for that. Now, Tether, okay, I'm just going to give you a spoiler, but still show up for the series, right? Tether is not audited. They just print more Tether all the time, okay? USDC and BUSD are actually audited and 100% backed by US dollars. Now, BUSD is backed by like treasury bonds and stuff like that, so we can get into that at a later date, but at the end of the day, it is backed 100%, 1-to-1. Every single BUSD and every single USDC has a dollar to back it out somewhere, right? Now, USDT does not have that. This is what we're seeing right here. Now, with that being said, what does that actually mean, right? What that means is that a bank run on Tether it's done. It's already lost peg a couple of times, right? It's already lost peg more times than we can probably count, actually. And this is going to affect our trading strategy. So before we get into the TA, we want to explain to you why that affects our strategy. And I'm good with it. And I know John's good with it too, because we see this and there's a lot of players. And John was just saying this a minute ago. There's some players in this market that in an indecisive time like this, news driven, like moves can happen and they can absolutely kill a market. So we'll show you the trend line, or not the trend line, but the support line that we're riding right now on like a daily and a weekly, right? And we've been riding it for a long time. Some bad news, which could be Tether, could be the thing that pushes it down to that, 14K range or less, right? 14.5K or less, depending on the size of this news and the magnitude of the, I guess, move or the sentiments in the market over that, because that could absolutely crash a bunch of coins. It could make some exchanges close their doors, etc. Okay. Now, there's a few players in the market that could absolutely make this happen. CZ being one of them, right? And this is what John was just talking about a minute ago, right before we got on this call. So watch out for Tether. What that changes in our strategy, okay? And you can go and fact check me on this. Go to the Wolfer Finance treasury wallet, right? It's all in USDC, okay? Now, there's a reason for that. And we're only going to be trading pairs that have USDC pairings on Bybit now because of this, because we're not willing to take this exposure with our funds or anybody else's funds for that matter, right? So that's going to limit us to the pairs that we can trade. But say there's 10 pairs we want to trade, right? And then there's 1 or 2 pairs out of those 10 that don't have a USDC pairing. Okay. Then what we'll probably do is take 90 to 95% of all the allocated capital and keep it in USDC, trading USDC pairs. And then we will take 5 to 10% of it, keep it in USDT, and trade in USDT pairs if we have to, right? And this is for like the Doges of the world, right? Most of the major coins that we're talking about trading have USDC pairs. So with that being said, I won't talk that much more about it because I know it's going to bore you. We're going to get into some TA. I'm going to actually share my screen really quick and show you something very quickly, which is the profit showcase. Okay, this stuff is insane. Like, seriously, guys, pay attention for this. Pay attention. John's an absolute gangster of, just absolutely epic proportions. He does his thing, and you guys can see these were the trades that we were in the other day on TA Tuesday, featuring Lux Algo, by the way. And these are the trades that we took based on Lux Algo's indicator packages, right? And obviously, John's, secret sauce that's inside of his head, right? So with that being said, look at all these trades, go in there, check them out. And we're going to show you, I mean, we're showing you right now, but at the end of the day, we're showing you, like, our BNB trade was absolutely ridiculous. 150%. Like, what? Okay. And, obviously I come down here and make jokes and say, even more horrible trades by John. Terrible. I remember my first trades, right? Now the second thing that I do want to say is Lux Algo is the indicator package that we were using to do all this. And we're going to go over like the back testing and stuff and show you some of these premium features that you only get if you have the, upgraded package. Now, it costs about $815 per year, right? But right now, and this is the last time they're ever offering it, and I told you I was going to bring this to you if I could, and I can. So click the link in the description if you want to, if you happen to give a F and you want this indicator package, because you're going to get it for life for $1,000. That means everything that they have now, it's only open for 4 more days, right? Everything they have now and every premium indicator that they come out with in the future. So if you actually think you're going to use Lux Algo for more than 1 year, I would just go ahead and get the lifetime package. That's just my bias. I've done it before. I would do it again. So with that being said, I'm going to let John get into some of the macro perspective on what's going on, and then we're going to show you that back testing feature.
Okay, first let's revisit that BNB trade, because that was awesome. Yeah. So on last Tuesday, we showed you the entry and how we got in it. Let's pull price action concepts back up, because this was one of the leading indicators of why we took this trade, along with some other confluences. But here is the long position I took. Right at this white line is our entry, and we put our stop loss right below the last low, which is 1.5% stop loss. And we were able to net 13.91%. And of course, we multiply that with leverage. As you can tell, the risk to reward ratio was a 9. So that is insane. Usually you want it at least a 2. Our minimum is a 2. So that was just an epic trade.
And the higher the risk to reward is, the better the trade. If it's like at like a 0.5 or a 1, that means it's not really that great in terms of the reward that you could get for the risk you're taking. So the higher that number is, the better the trade, the better reward you're getting for the amount of risk that you're assuming.
Yeah, because over time, if you're having only a 1 to 1 or 1.5 to 1, you're going to eventually get wrecked. You'll see your decrease on the account. So I did get stopped out a little bit early. I wish I would have been able to hold this to the absolute very top, but I was keeping a very tight stop loss as we were moving up, and I ended up getting wicked out right around here. Same thing with the other 2 trades, but nonetheless, turned out amazing.
Massive.
So let's switch back over to Bitcoin and what we were talking about with Tether.
Yeah.
There's some big players like CZ who do own a lot and do have a big portion and can have a lot of control over the markets that way, and he wants to probably prop his own coin. So with that being said, if we do unpeg, and I personally don't feel safe keeping a lot of our capital in even personal or Wolfer into USDT right now. So like Drew said, we will be taking the appropriate measures to not have that risk on our back. So if something were like that, were to happen like that, it would probably crash the market further down, and it might even crash more exchanges. Yep. So these are the levels to the downside. I'm going to turn Lux off real quick so we have a clear look.
Yep.
These are some of the levels I'm looking at towards the downside. Right here, we have been at this value area low. We've been riding it for a couple weeks now, of course. If we zoom in just a little bit, we can see we have not quite touched it. That value area low from this pull is anywhere from 15,000 to about 14.9. If we do lose this area, we will look for a fake out and then come back into this value area. But if we retest this and we get rejected right here, these will be the next areas that I will be looking at. especially some of these wicks, and especially these untapped levels here and here specifically, these three. So that's 9,800, 8,840, and just in that 9,000 range.
Long way to fall, man. Long way.
And it'll get ugly. But
terrible.
I guess we could say the upside to that is you can probably believe there's a lot of limit orders set down here.
Oh, yeah. I bet you if you pulled a volume, like a fixed range, it would be insane.
Yeah, some old fixed ranges, you'll see there's lots of volumes in these areas. Same thing with these support resistance. It's telling us the same. So another thing I'm looking at on the weekly is we can see prices falling or decreasing, making a lower low here, but this momentum oscillator is making a higher low. So we do have a bullish divergence here, which might have a little bit of bullish bias, but this can be invalidated very quickly. And the one concern I have is the purple wave, which is the money flow index. It is decreasing. Now, will this be the peak for the money flow wave and we start to turn back up? But again, this is a very high time frame. A lot of things can happen in the interim. So these are just things to kind of watch out for and see how they play out.
Yeah, this could play out until like Q1 of next year, man. Right. Like weekly time frames take so long to play out sometimes.
Absolutely. It is a long tail play, but we'll be watching it as we go along. So if we see here on a daily time frame, we can see, zoom in a little bit, we have a upper range here that we fell out of and we started creating this smaller range. So what I would be looking to, if we were to pump up to the upside, you would want to see us bust out of this range, possibly back test it as support. So we have a support resistance flip and then try to get accepted back into this upper range. But as you can see, we have the value area low here and the point of control. And let me go back over here so this other one can load. So you see the point of control here, this big volume node here, it lines up almost perfectly to the other point of control. So this is a heavy resistant area. We're going to have a lot of volume push to get past this. So again, I can almost see us maybe getting a little bullish sentiment coming back up, testing it, and possibly getting rejected and coming back down. But again, those are things we're going to have to look for as they're happening to see how these retests go. So that's kind of a macro on the markets currently. With the whole USDT thing, my bias is still quite bearish, unfortunately. But here, let me close this.
Yeah, and the next big major resistances after we fall out of that support, just so everybody knows, you're looking at like 12.5, maybe 10.3, and about 98 hundo. That's where big, and that's why, I mean, I've been saying it for months and months. I think I've been saying it since I started my YouTube channel, 10K is in play. Like, this is why. We're showing you why it's in play right now. And potentially, it could be all the way down to 8K, something like that. Because at the end of the day, 10K, like 10.5, is right where an 85% retracement from the all-time high. If you just want to be a Viking about it and say, oh, last time we had a bull market, we retraced 85%. Boom, there you go, from 20K all the way down to 3. Yeah, well, 10.5 is 85% of 69K. So there's that.
Yes, absolutely. So what we're going to go over now is Lux Algo's new premium feature of the backtester. So this is huge, guys. So anybody that is dealing with Lux Algo and has already got some of their premium indicators or even their free indicators, you can use this as long as you have the premium setup for the backtester, but you can use any of those into this backtester. So basically what this is it's a trading view strategy tester. So once you use or go in here and go to settings, you can pick all of these different settings and sensitivity and agility. These are going to change the volume and volatility settings. And you can go in here and click on these to basically pick which strategy you want as far as your filters. So these are basically going to be confirmations to the triggers. And by that, I mean, you can filter this down. You can use 3 or 4 of them, but you also have to keep in mind the more filters you have, usually the less trades or the smaller the probabilities you're making. So it's tightening your filters up. Same thing with the sell condition filter. So I like that you can do this separately. You can choose, say you want a trend tracer on the buy, but you want to get out when it hits the Neo cloud. That's something that's really cool. As well as you can go down here and you can set the buy TP, SL for your shorts and longs. And you have the built-in exits here within their already configured settings as well. And you can go in down here and you can go to advanced and you can optimize per profit or optimize per win rate. I personally like to optimize per win rate, because this is going to be a little bit better risk management, in my opinion. Something else I kind of want to show, this is pretty cool right here. So we're going to put this in the bottom right and let it load. It does take a minute to load, but it's really cool. And this is, I've never seen this on any strategy backtester ever, and I've dealt with a lot of them. So what this is showing you is this is your sensitivity setting here and your agility setting here. So if you change these settings, it's already mapping out what the win rate is going to change to. So you can use this as a nice little graph to know like what your adjustments need to be biased towards. So that's a really cool
that is crazy. Here. Yeah, that's nuts.
Big on efficiency. So you're not going to have to go through each individual setting to see this yourself and let it load and all that. It's already laid out for you.
And let's act like really they don't know what agility and sensitivity is in these settings, right? Let's explain to them just a high level overview. Obviously, they can go do their own research, whatever, but let's let them know.
Right. So this is going to be different per whatever indicator you're using here. So let's say you're using the Neo Cloud. So it has a certain set of rules to enter a trade and to exit a trade. So this is going to tighten up or loosen those rules.
Yep.
So, but it's going to be different each one you're choosing. Like a Neo Cloud can be somewhat compared to maybe like a Keltner channel or Bollinger Bands. I know it is different and they have a different algorithm for it, but let's just kind of have that comparison. So whenever it hits the bottom of a band, goes through and comes back up, that's when you want to enter a trade. So let's say the sensitivity, you increase that sensitivity, it's going to tighten those bands up to where it's going to enter the trade more often. So you might want to have it looser so you're not entering in so many bad trades. So these settings will basically filter out good and bad trades, and it'll show you that trade-off within these settings. So whenever you change a setting, it's going to give you your net profit, your total amount of trades it's taking per the settings. It's going to give you your percent profitable and your profit factor, your max drawdown, and your average trade win. So
and that's why I wanted him to explain agility and sensitivity to you, because the whole point of this is it literally automates all of the calculations and having to go through step by step, setting by setting, and like sensitivity and agility level by level. This thing nullifies it. I've never seen anyone or any indicator package do this, and it's absolutely insane. Lux Algo they're killing it right now. So like, I don't know, man. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, no, they have some. They already have some nice settings optimized on their Discord if you can have access to the OptiBot. And you can input those settings here, and they already have some nice win rate numbers. Again, just out of the box, and we didn't even do much. I mean, these aren't bad numbers here. I mean, $3,500 net gain, not bad. You know, you have a bigger position size. This is going to get bigger as well. And we haven't even messed with any of it. So you can just kind of think of how many options you can run through here and how many probabilities. I mean, this is like a nice little toy that you would want to play with for a while.
It's nuts, man. It's nuts.
Yeah, so it's really cool. And again, it's very big on efficiency and saving you time from having to do this manually. So that is the biggest value with this. So when you're using their indicators, it's not guesswork anymore. You can test it and you can change one thing at a time, then go back and test it again, and it just pops up for you. So absolutely
insane. Man. So that's the high level overview on all of this stuff, guys. Like Lux Algo, all we can say is if you haven't looked into it, just go look into it. You know, we feature it on the channel like a lot, right? And it's for a reason. It's not because we're like, oh, go buy Lux Algo, I'm going to make $1 million off of it. No, it's because literally those are the indicators we're using in the trades that we're using. And if you happen to give a F, go use it, right? But what we're showing you is exactly what we're doing. So we use Lux Algo, we use Market Cipher. That's essentially what it comes down to. Lux Algo has come out with these new pertinent indicator packages that we have now kind of given high-level overviews of, and we're going to keep doing that every single video. We're going to try to give you guys like, hey, we'll do our charting, we'll go over our trades, we'll do some TA, blah, blah, blah. Then we'll teach you to a certain extent how to use this stuff. So that's kind of where we're at right now. If you haven't already got in, and thanks, John, for jumping on Thanksgiving, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, seriously. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't gotten into everyone. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Make sure you get into the Wolfer Finance profits and showcasing channel for the trade and analysis block that we have, right? Because there's a lot of value in that just from what John's delivering and then from what other people deliver, right? And then everybody in Wolfer, everybody knows something about something. It's like you can't come into Wolfer and not figure something out, whether it's mining, whether it's, I don't know, you know, staking, you know, earning yield farming, stuff like that. Like these guys, all these men and women, right, have all this knowledge. Get in there and check it out. With that being said, guys, I'm gonna let you get back to your Thanksgiving. We appreciate you showing up. Make sure that you obviously on your way out, make sure you hit the like button. Obviously, make sure that you subscribe. Boom! Bang on the notification bell. Comment whatever you think in the relevant sections. If you see anything that we're missing, let us know. Obviously, come into Wolfer. Chop it up with us. We appreciate it. We will see you in the next video, and we appreciate you showing up to this one. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody.